Y'all going to make me lose my mind up in here. No, I'm kidding. I'm down here at the world-famous Berg Sports Bar and Grill out here on Central Avenue, just below 16th Street in the Edge District of St. Petersburg. And, I know it's a third preseason game. Of course, there's only 3 preseason games now because there's 17 regular season games. And, of course, the Buccaneers are in Indianapolis tomorrow night versus those Indianapolis Colts. But, Bucs fans, it's not an average Buccaneers preseason game, is it? I mean, as far as the first 2 we saw in Game 1 against the Dolphins, we saw Kyle Trask have a breakout game. In Game 2 there in Tennessee against the Titans, I don't know what broke out. Maybe Jake Camarda, the punter, our punter we drafted out of Georgia. But, Game 3, Brady's back in camp, and he's going to bring it. And you know what? I'm talking to a cat right now in my back lobby. I wanted to do a little more of an opening here. It's a steamy, humid Florida evening down here in St. Petersburg, but I'm going to go ahead and bring him in here right now. You guys know this guy is me. I know him as me. I know him as a good friend. He's going to be at the Bucs game tomorrow night, the preseason game. Welcome to the Bucs Report. Welcome to Cup of Ray on a Friday night, Mr. Misador. Hey, me, how are you, my friend?
Hey, brother, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, how do you score? No, go ahead, brother.
I was going to say, so when I bought the tickets, I was like, oh, man, Brady just took his leave of absence. And I mean, I had faith he was going to be back this week. In fact, I think I told you, I'm going to pick Brady up in Indy and take him to the game. So, I mean.
You did say that. And, I mean, you talk about, I was at the Dolphins game. I didn't get to the Titans game. You're going tomorrow night. And you talk about me. Let me ask you this, because not only are you going to be going to the game tomorrow night, but you know the Bucs. Well, you know them better than I do.
I don't know.
We know we're going to see the – well, maybe it's a close call. We'll have that argument another day. How much do you think not only just Brady in the offense, but even the defense, because Todd Bowles says in his press conference, everyone who's healthy is going to play. How much do you think we see of the first-string offense and defense tomorrow night versus those Indianapolis Colts?
I would love to think we'd see Brady and the offense go for maybe a quarter. I wouldn't want to see them out there more than a quarter. I'd be okay with seeing them for a series or 2, just enough that we could see, some chemistry building between him and the mash unit offensive line they have right now. But he's going to need to develop some confidence in them going forward. I mean, Dallas is dealing with a lot of injuries too, but that's only 2 weeks away now.
Yeah, living there in Indiana, how many times have you been to the oil can, Lucas Oil Stadium?
Oh, Lucas Oil I've been to twice, but I played on the Hoosier Dome back when it was the Hoosier Dome.
Right?
So,
yes.
I mean, we used to go there all the time.
I love the way that they have the glass. Is it I'm guessing it's probably the north end zone, or the north end zone there. They have the glass. It's only the one sideline of the stadium where the natural light can shine in there, right. But it also has that. We see it every year when they have the combine there. You know what? I'm going to transition a question real quick. I want to talk about the Bucs, but what are your thoughts about the NFL now moving the combine and going around to the highest bidder like they've kind of done with the draft now? And we know the NFL is all about monetizing the product and trying to make more cash, legalized gambling, whatever they can. They're squeezing it everywhere, and they're also squeezing us fans for the tickets, cost of those tickets. But it always felt like the combine belonged there in Indianapolis. It always felt, and we know what it means every year to have that NFL combine there. And what does it mean now that they're talking about taking it away?
Well, it was great revenue for the state of Indiana, but more so, the Circle City is ideal for a situation like that. You have easy access to the players. You have the media is right there. The hotels aren't far away. You're not dealing with the kind of traffic you have in Chicago. I'm not saying that Indy isn't big city, but it's got that close, almost like Nashville. It's got that close feeling to it. So yeah, Indy was great for that. And
speaking of Chicago, we got someone else in the lobby. Maybe you saw this cat already. He's my good friend and my neighbor, and we know him as Harry the Greek, but we know him as my number one handicapper friend. Let me bring him to the show, Mr. Harry the Greek, Harry Berg. Harry, you just heard me kind of throw down Chicago a little bit. I do agree, Harry, that having that combine, it has that innocence feeling in there in Indianapolis where the players can get off of the stage from New York. They can get off of the stage from wherever college they went to. They go to Indianapolis for the combine each year. But now the NFL's talking about moving that. What are your thoughts on that as well, Harry?
First off, ¿cómo estás, Señor Raymond Kennedy?
Brother, ¿cómo estás? I'm not going to say anything, but...
What's up, my brother Mike? Well, I'm down here in the Dominican Republic right now.
I wasn't going to say it. I got you taken care of here.
That's okay, man. You got someone staying at my house. I'm all good about that. I'll tell you what, it's absolutely beautiful down here. And the things that I'm starting to learn, and I'm not Spanish, is mucho trabajo, nada dinero.
If you ever talk about my mother like that again, I'm going to kick your ass.
Much work, little money.
Much work,
Little
lots of work,
money.
and little money. That's perfect. Yeah. Oh my God, it's absolutely incredible out here. If you ever get a chance.
Hey, Harry, can you turn your volume up a little bit, just a speck? I want to hear you.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
It's a little uglier
Harry,
now.
Oh, wait. What's going on here, guys? Harry, the Bucs are going to play their starters tomorrow night. Brady and Julio and whoever else. Todd Bowles says this week that if they're healthy, they're playing tomorrow night. Not a surprise. Not every team's resting their starters the entire preseason. What are your thoughts, Harry?
I think they're going to go one series with Brady. I'm going to tell you why.
No, I lost you again. Hey, can you hear me?
Vaguely. I mean, he said he thinks they're going to
Harry,
go
I
one
lost
series.
you again.
I'm going to go one series.
Yeah, brother.
You know what? Hang up. I'm going to do it from my phone.
All right, yeah. I'm going to put him out of there. So, let me ask you this. Tom comes back to the team. I was pretty much ran across the coals last week when I said that team last week, I wasn't worried about seeing an offense or a game plan. Oh, I'm yelling. Sorry. It's just because it's really loud here.
You're fine.
I wasn't worried about – what I was worried about is I saw the team last week in Tennessee that we kind of thought we were going to see when Tom Brady retired initially earlier this year. A very flat, a very vanilla team, not inspired. Is that the way it came across to you as well, or was it just preseason being preseason?
You know, it's yes and no. With it being preseason, you try to put your team in positions where you can evaluate and watch their reaction to things. But if that was the situation the Bucs were in and that's how they reacted, that's nothing you want to see going forward. Yes, it was preseason, but it was very non-inspired football. Not many people were finishing blocks. Your tackling wasn't great. I mean, there was nothing really to take out from that game, but like you said, the punter played well. Trask proved he could get up off the ground a few times.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about, and I think that even if it would have been like a non-scoring affair where the Bucs didn't put the ball in the end zone, I imagined, because I'm going to ask you another question in a minute, I would imagine the Bucs would have wanted to at least have seen Ryan Succop make a few long field goals, because going into camp, that was one of the competitions I really wanted to look at was Ryan Succop versus Borgales. But when I look back at the stats and I realized the Buccaneers had the ball inside Tennessee's 30-yard line 3 times, only for 3 plays, and that drive ended in a punt. There's no way in hell anyone can ever tell me, well, it's preseason. They didn't have an offensive game plan. They weren't strategizing. You can't get the ball inside Tennessee's 30-yard line but 3 times, and that drives a punt. That's a failure in my book.
Oh, 100%. And not only that, but you got to see what you have right now with Succop, because if you're going to make a monetary decision, it's not going to be Succop. So you either have to go full bore with him or you've got to make the decision to go without him. And you made no, analysis at all last week, at all. So
who else? What other battles do you see, that the Bucs are looking at tomorrow night? Obviously, wide receiver is one of the biggies. But anything else you see, or as far as players that maybe not so much fighting for a spot on this team, but are trying to get themselves into that first position as a first-string player?
Yeah. I really think the starters are pretty much locked in place right now going until the midseason. There was a battle at O-line, but that kind of took care of itself. You are seeing a battle for the not 3-down back, but your second back. I think Rachaad White's definitely taking that role over. But if Vaughn has a good game, he'd give him something to think about. But I don't see any real positions being surrendered or made tomorrow night. It's just going to be escape healthy.
Who's our left guard going into this season right now?
It's got to be the glass eater. I mean, you got to go with your rookie, right? Gasecki.
No, Godecki. No, but yeah, I mean, because here's the thing, that was one of the reasons I know we can't say, well, Aaron Stinney gets injured in the third quarter and they were working on scenarios. They wanted him to play and they wanted to see him in situations. there was at one point where they cut to the sideline, and I looked at Todd Bowles, and I'm just speaking as a fan here. I'm not talking of someone who's breaking everything down. I know it was just you have one of Mike Vrabel brought a Tennessee team ready to play that night, but they cut to the sideline, and Todd Bowles looked like someone had stolen his Barbie doll, and I was like, I don't want to see that. Now, I'm not saying that he has to do anything above and beyond to prove that this is his team. Coach Bruce Arians leaves it. Like I say, Coach Bruce Arians leaves it as his team. And I was there at the Miami game where Bruce Arians was on a sideline with Jason Light, and he's on a sideline with Larry Foote. So I get that Bruce Arians is still in the house, but this is Todd Bowles' team 100%. I like the fact that we're going to look at a defensive-minded team this year as we continue to have the greatest of all time under center at quarterback, and then have an offense that has what can only be described as an all-star lineup of wide receivers and a running game now with a Leonard Fournette and a Rachaad White now. So I love that scenario, but I didn't like that look, though, last week when I cut to the sidelines and Todd Bowles is standing there, and he looked very, very lost. Was that just me?
It obviously wasn't just you, because it's been the talk all over social media and other news outlets, is that they didn't show anything. You didn't see anything from the Bucs. Like I said, it was uninspired football.
No passion.
These players are playing in the later quarters of these preseason games, aren't playing for the Bucs per se. They're playing for themselves. And if you can't play for yourself at that point, there's not much coaching can do, right? I mean, you're putting a tape together, you're putting a resume together to get your, it'd just be like you being a carpenter and you want to build something to show what you can do and put in your showcase. That's what they're doing. They're putting something together that people can walk by and say,
Video,
hey,
yes.
Good. So
I've talked about last week enough, because I'm excited about tomorrow night. I'm excited not because we're going to see the starters, but again, great purchase on the tickets to get those. And you're going to what's usually, excuse me, the third preseason game. It's not Brady's MO. Brady's MO is to always get a little bit of time in the preseason, but not to get it in that third game, especially this year now. Again, like I said, only being 3 preseason games and not 4. But I'm really excited about tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to seeing that defensive line. Even though you still have, your offensive line is not going to be the one with Logan Hall but Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. Of course, you've got the inside and you've got Vita Vea. But I'm looking forward to looking at Todd Bowles' defense, or this defense, if you will, really be able to unleash it. I'm more excited to see the defense than I am an offense. Is that how you feel, or are you just excited to see the starters at any position?
I'm always excited to see defense, to be honest with you.
I know you are.
I honestly watch football from a defensive mind more than offensive. Coaching defensively, I can't help it. But what I'm really looking forward to seeing is how well Logan Hall can get off his blocks. I want to see JTS not over pursue the play. He seemed to be in the backfield a lot.
Yes.
But rule of thumb is you never go deeper than the ball. And unfortunately, he was well past the ball on many occasions. And it looks great on tape. It looks great that he's getting back there. But if you don't finish plays, you're not doing anything for your team other than wasting energy. I want to see if McCollum actually can rebound. He's quite the athlete, but he got caught glory gazing. Looking back in the back.
Yeah, he did.
The receiver went right by him. Turner in the secondary, he's fighting for a job. I mean, he might not be first or second team, but that free safety spot, he could be definitely in the rotation, can come up with on the special teams. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him, but he's got to make his way onto the roster. So that's where I'm looking.
Speaking of fighting for a job, it's a numbers game at the wide receiver position. You got some phenomenal young receivers on this team, but you got some veterans in Perryman and Miller and, these guys, and even a Cyril Grayson that, I mean, it's one of those weird positions because, like I said, going back 2 years, there's no way we can have Mike Evans, one of the best, and then also have a Chris Godwin. And then we get a Chris Godwin. And not only we franchise him, but we give him a contract. And then I'm like, well, we can't have that. And now we have a Tyler Johnson, who I think who's definitely slow. And now you got a Russell Gage and a Julio Jones, and Tyler Johnson's your 5th receiver, possibly. It's a numbers game at the wide receiver position. Among those veterans at the wide receiver position, who do you see not possibly on the bubble, looking from the outside in, making this 2022 squad?
They did let Grayson go today. I think they let him go because he's the safest to put on the practice squad. I put out my 53. I had the Bucs keeping 7. I don't know now. I think they may go 8. You might see Scotty Miller make the team. Stearns is putting tape together. He'll find a job somewhere. If it's not with the Bucs, they put him on the practice squad. He won't last there long. Tompkins is another one. The wide receiver spot is going to be a real tight competition for that last spot, 2 spots. If they keep 8, you might see someone like Scotty Miller get traded. You're muted, Ray.
That's something my wife and my kids wish they could say every day. I thought they were featuring Tyler Johnson early on because they were looking at – but the thing about it is that Tyler Johnson and his size and his upside, of course, the Minnesota Golden Gopher in his third year with the Bucs, I didn't want to lose him. I don't figure the numbers game receiver moving forward. I thought they were featuring him because he had a great game against the Dolphins. But then again, nobody on offense had really any game against the Titans. But I think you're right. I think that, Jason Light will try to call a couple of teams. He'll try to remind them what the Buccaneers, what Adam Humphries meant to this team, what a speedy receiver like a Scotty Miller can mean to a team. And there are some teams out there in the NFL that could probably use a receiver, a veteran receiver of Scotty Miller's ilk.
Yeah, like I said, Scotty, if he makes the team, it's going to be because of his special teams play. He was the leading tackler, I believe, on special teams for the Bucs last season.
Yeah, he's a worker. He is definitely a worker.
It's going to be tough because you have that young talent coming out. And, I mean, even Darden played well as a receiver, not only as a returner, but he played well as a receiver. So you got to make yourself a niche. You got to find a way to make the team. And it's for Scotty Miller, it's either on special teams or he's going to be playing somewhere else. And I'd hate to see him go to Green Bay.
Oh,
because
let me go ahead.
Sounds like it couldn't work.
I'll tell you what, Green Bay, you talk about Aaron Rodgers and the receivers, and wouldn't that just be something, especially we face the Packers here at home with Raymond James in week 3? God, that would be one of those almost like you'd see Matt LaFleur going, from a standpoint, for those of us that believe in football as a spiritual thing, it makes sense to do something like this. Let me go ahead and bring back this guy. Of course, he's coming to us from the Dominican Republic. He's the one that gave it up, not me. Let's see how his volume is. How are you, Harry?
Hi, Ray. You guys can hear me better now, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, perfect. How about Jimmy? So, Harry, what are your thoughts when you heard this week that the Buccaneers are going to – Todd Bowles says they're going to play everyone who's healthy in the third game tomorrow night versus those Indianapolis Colts?
I think it's a smoke show, but really, honestly, I can't see them letting Brady play more than a series. They cannot – look, you don't want to risk injury. We already know what you're going to get with Tom Brady. You're going to see him getting repetitions, handing the ball off to the left, handing the ball off to the right. Whether or not he throws more than 2 passes, I think he goes 1 series. I think the other wide receivers are going to play a couple of series just to get some reps trying to catch the football. That's just my personal opinion. But from a defensive standpoint, I cannot wait to see what that team's going to be like.
I want to see Akeem Hicks. I want to see Akeem and Vita Vea. I want to see Will Golston. I want to see, Devin White. I want to see what we saw a little bit in the practices against Miami. But let me ask you this, me, and I think Harry makes a great point there. 1 series, you get them out there, you let them get their feet a little wet, you get them the hell off the field. If Tom Brady comes out on that field, let's say Tom has a toe stub in the first series and Tom Brady comes out on that field for a second series. Is that Tom Brady coaching himself? Is that Tom Brady making that call 100%? Because do you think Byron Leftwich or Coach Todd Bowles would be like, no, you hit the showers after that first drive, you had 1 chance. If Tom Brady comes out and me for that second drive, is that Tom Brady calling the plays?
I mean, you'd think he'd have some pull there, right? But if they let Brady out and he gets hurt, they're never going to hear the end of it. So, I mean, business decision as a coach, you take his helmet and you hide it. But
he doesn't play. In my opinion, if I was head coach, he doesn't even see the field. And if he does, I wouldn't even let him throw a pass. I'd say, here, get your forearm loose. Here, hand it off to those 3 nice running backs you have sitting behind you. I just wouldn't take the chance. And if you guys remember, last year he took an unnecessary shot in the preseason. Everybody was like, what?
Yeah, held our breath. And I think you're right. I mean, here's the thing. I bought into the whole leave of absence, whether it was Giselle planned a beautiful vacation for the then retired Tom Brady or if it was whatever it was. I think that's probably what it was. I'm not even questioning it. But you don't got to come back and show me the size of your cojones and have to go into that third game. If you go out there, if he goes out there and does anything but hands the ball to Leonard Fournette and maybe throws like 1 or 2 quick passes to Cam Brate because he's trying to show the world that we still got this tight end thing locked down, maybe 1 to Julio, But now I'm asking for too much because you're right, Harry. If I got a player on the Indianapolis Colts team that's trying to make this team to save his, trying to feed his family and making his team, he's going to be going balls to the wall against Tom Brady and that Buccaneers offense. It's not like they're in scrimmage and the coaches. It's not like Tom's wearing that orange throwback jersey, is it?
Listen, the Indianapolis Colts have one of the best and tightest defenses in the entire National Football League. They really play a solid 4-3. I mean, they're just an incredible defense, especially led by DeForest Buckner. But if I'm Indianapolis, he's not playing. This game is meaningless. This is to get out there and let's just get our feet wet. Let's just get out there and get our wind about us. This isn't the Chicago Bears where they're going to have to play their starters for a frigging game because they have no idea what they're having on it. These are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and a Tom Brady-led offense and a really, really well-run defense. They don't need to play them. This is the preseason. Get out there, get your feet wet, and let's just have a good time, and let's effing go.
LFG, me. What's the first play the Buccaneers run tomorrow night? We win the toss. We don't defer because Todd Bowles is like, look, I want to get Tom out and I want to get him off as fast as possible. We're not deferring. It's not the real regular season. What's the first play this team runs so that Tom Brady can feel comfortable? He can show the world that I'm still the greatest of all time. Now hit the showers, like you said, and hide his helmet.
How funny would it be if the Bucs come out and run Scotty Miller on a fly just to start the game? But that ain't gonna happen. If I'm the Bucs,
that's pretty good though.
If I'm the Bucs, I either come out and I hand the ball off, or I run a quick tight end pop pass to like Cam Brady, just so Brady can throw his pass and give the fans what they wanted to see. But no, if he plays more than a series, there's going to be issues with the fans and with the coaches. But yeah, I would love to see him a quarter because I'm going and I'm selfish. But yeah,
you're down here in Florida.
Oh no, he's in
Indianapolis. That's what we're
that's
playing.
right. The game's in Indy. That's right. Oh my God! Wait a minute. You're driving from Gary, Indiana, down?
Gilbert.
It's about 3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours. 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, Harry, is it Suckup or Bragalis? I got my affinity for kickers.
Right.
Have we found out yet who it is?
You're always begging for the leg, brother. Of course it's going to be Suckup.
Ooh, you agree me?
If it's a football decision, it's Suckup. If it's a financial decision to where they need to free up cap space to bring in another offensive lineman for Tom Brady and this offensive line, it might be Borgalis. But like I said, if it's a football decision, there's no decision. I mean,
let me tell you something. Borgalis has got a hell of a leg.
He's got a hell of a leg.
He's not Ryan Suckup, man.
He's not accurate yet.
He's not accurate. And you know what? If he wanted that job bad enough and everybody's like, oh, my God, look at the way he's kicking the ball. And then you put him in a game situation and you're like, please, Suckup, don't leave. Trust me. They can't afford – especially with a Todd Bowles ran team, you need a hell of a kicker.
Oh, good point.
You're going to need a hell of a kicker because he's going to play a lot of field position. This team's going to be a little bit different this year than you've seen before.
100%. I don't know if you saw a couple shows ago with Ray. I said the Bucs going to run the ball quite a bit more than they have in the past, and you're going to see them run to set up the pass. It's not going to be this whole, Brady led the league with, I believe, 70 20-plus yard passes last year. You're not going to see a lot of that.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and stand on a soapbox and say this because I've said it before on my own show on the Over Under when we were talking about, when Todd Bowles took over the realm, and I was like, this team right now, if you thought that the past Super Bowl Bucs team was good, if this team stays healthy with Akeem Hicks and he can play a full season with Vita Vea, and you get another running back that can catch a ball out of the backfield and be that security blanket for a Tom Brady, and they run that football, oh, son, you have no idea. You could be talking about one of the greatest teams ever to suit up. But they got to do two things. They got to run the football, play defense, and the third thing is not two things. You got to stay healthy. And so far, that injury bug is getting to them a little bit. But don't be too panicked. Because it's a
biting
lot
everybody.
easier to run block than it is to pass protect, right, me?
Oh, absolutely. And like I was trying to say, when you said they need a back that can catch the ball, get yourself a tape of Rashad White and watch that boy.
Love
I
the
mean,
kid.
My God. Not only that, but I mean, I didn't realize. I realized that he had to coming out of Arizona State. I realized to me that he was a great receiving running back. He was 31% of their 31% of their receiving plays there at Arizona State. But you saw the video this week, the one-handed catch. He does I want to say it's the Odell Beckham, but he does a one-handed catch. And I was surprised he moved ahead of Keyshawn Vaughn as fast as he did. I was surprised that Giovanni Bernard became an afterthought as fast as he did. I still want to see that Leonard Fournette power game. But now you talk about a Leonard Fournette and a Rashad White. I mean, guys, let's think on the fly.
Keyshawn Vaughn's in trouble this year, gentlemen. I'll be surprised he makes the team. I'll be very surprised he makes this team.
Justin till Bernard's healthy.
Who?
Wow. Just until Giovanni's is Giovanni. Yeah, Giovanni until he's healthy, because Giovanni's your veteran presence, of course. But the running back out of Vanderbilt, Keyshawn Vaughn. I mean, I thought Peyton Barber would make someone else's roster. I thought Ronald Jones Jr. would splash, and of course we'll still see what happens out there in Kansas City. But Keyshawn Vaughn, I hadn't seen enough of him. I hadn't seen enough of a sample size to say this kid don't got it. But when you got Rashad White, and of course you got Lenny Fournette, and what the Bucs invest in that kid now, or that kid, I guess at my age everyone's a kid. But I love the fact that the Buccaneers, I think Tom Brady has no problem with becoming a run-first team, because we saw it in New England over the years. There were years where they came out and it was Charlie Weiss, or it was Josh McDaniels, and they were throwing the ball 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. And there were years where they were using LeGarrette Blount or Sony Michel and running that ball, because Tom's all about whatever it takes to win that championship, and that would behoove him at this point to try to become a passing first team.
I'll tell you what, Keyshawn Vaughn, jumping back to what Keyshawn Vaughn did, I think this organization lost a little faith. And let me be a little bit more specific. There are people that I know that run in the circles inside the organization. In that Chicago game from a couple of years back, when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers absolutely gave the Bears that game, that was Keyshawn Vaughn's fault. You guys remember correctly, he caught the pass out of the backfield. He turned around to go upfield, and they laid the wood on him. That kid has never been the same ever since. He's got the oopsies with the football, and that is the truth.
That's
that kid
some deep
never
analysis.
Recovered from that. From that, he's just never recovered. He's always going to be labeled as a fumbler.
I said that was some deep analysis, Harry the Greek, and I use the word deep analysis because you talk about deep analysis. Let's go deeper. Let's bring another cat into this show. We got him in the lobby, and I'm going to love bringing this cat in here. From Pewter Report, my favorite, not my bestie. I want to say my bestie, but J.C. Allen from Pewter Report. Let's bring him in here. I mean, this guy's on. He's on with Krasnicki and Night Train. He's on with Pat and Aaron. But here's the thing, J.C. Every time you're on, it's not just because I know you. It's because I know how smart you are. But you are bringing the wood, baby. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good, man. Just grinding away. I've got a couple articles coming out tomorrow about these rookie tight ends, about these this left guard competition, which I don't think is officially over yet. There's still an opportunity for Gadecki and Leverett, Gadecki and Leverett to still battle this out to the very end. And it's going to be a fun game tomorrow with the starters out there and getting a look at them. So I'm really excited about that and seeing how everything kind of plays out on the offensive line. It's going to be a big storyline to watch.
If Aaron Stinney doesn't get injured last week in Tennessee, is he also in that battle for that left guard position, JC? Or the Bucs had already decided it was between Leverett? Okay.
No, they see him more as a right guard. He was probably OG4 on this roster. He had that opportunity in the beginning of camp. You saw in the 2 preseason games that he played in. He was getting all of his snaps were coming specifically at right guard. I think he's a valuable backup, but he does a much better job at right guard than left guard, and I don't think he was going to make it down to that wire in the competition. I think it was really between Leverett and Gadecki, and they're going to give this rookie every chance that he can to win this spot. Going out there, being named the starter for this last preseason game, and rolling with the ones and Tom Brady. And he's got a big opportunity in front of him, and he needs to make sure that he takes advantage of it. And if he does, he's probably a starting left guard heading into the season.
Wow. Was there any, talking about the media, who yourself, again with Pewter Report to Mr. J.C. Allen, was there any surprise this week when Todd Bowles says that if you're, and I think it's a little bit of a smokescreen, like Harry the Greek says, that it doesn't mean everybody's playing, but Todd Bowles was just saying, look, we don't have any, there's nobody protected. But was there a surprise here in local media covering the Buccaneers as you do, JC, that he basically says if you're healthy, you're playing tomorrow night? And how are the Bucs approaching this third preseason game versus those Indianapolis Colts?
If you look back at Tom Brady's history, he's played in every third preseason or preseason game finale since 2009. So it wasn't too big of a surprise. I thought that he'd want to get those guys some reps together, especially the offensive line. Saying everyone who's healthy is going to play, it makes sense. And I got tipped off a little bit earlier in the day through the Bucs social media when they posted a video of Shaq coming out to practice, and it was like, can't wait. Haven't been on the field for a while. Can't wait till y'all see us. I was like, okay. And I posted on my Twitter, I was like, sounds like Shaq Barrett's playing. If Shaq Barrett's playing, it looks like most of the rest of the guys are going to be out there too, unless you're injured. So I expect to see everybody. Now, are they going to play the full game, full quarter, full half? Probably not. They're all going to have a pitch count on them. We're talking, if you watch that Hard Knocks episode of the Detroit Lions, the linebacker coach was like, you're playing 20 snaps and you're out. I don't want to hear anything. Rodrigo last
yeah,
week,
Rodrigo.
You snuck in last week and said you didn't hear me. That's it. So I think there will be a pitch count, snap count type deal, and then they'll pull everybody. But just to get some rust off, get some hitting in because they're not really doing too much of that. I think that will be beneficial for them, especially that offensive line who's trying to build continuity with 3 new guys in the interior.
Are you watching the HBO Hard Knocks?
Man, I'm working so much, I'm barely watching myself.
And I know Harry's not watching it because my boy's down in the Dominican Republic partying it up. But I'll tell you what, how can you not be a Cunningham fan? And the Detroit Lions, what they're doing up there, and they're putting it together. I love Rodrigo. I love what's going on. But, guys, it's time for something more important here before this band gets going live here. The Electric Soul Funk is down here, Ferg's down here on Central Avenue, just below 16th Street in the Edge District of St. Petersburg. But I got to be honest with you. Going back to the Dolphins game, and JC, I'm sorry we never hooked up. I realized it's been a few years since I've been a steady attender of Bucs games, and I've lost all of my tailgate game. And to me, I think Bucs fans out there are going to agree. Whether with the Leatherheads or the Buckaholics or even whoever you're coming in with, you got to agree that tailgate's one of the most important parts of your game day festivities. Let me ask you guys right now, starting with you, Harry. When it comes to Tailgate Sunday, what's the most important facet of a tailgate for you?
Wow. I remember quite a few tailgates, especially for, being a native of Chicago and waiting on, your division games. Oh, my God, it was just so much things. But what are some of the things I loved to do tailgating? Probably some of my most memorable tailgating was here actually in Tampa Stadium. Because I used to wear a sewn jersey that had Tampa Bay Buccaneers logo on the front, and on the back, it was Mike Singletary's jersey on the back. I mean, we actually custom made it. Oh, no, I'm not
That's
kidding.
awesome.
So if I was walking by, Tampa fans, I'd walk backwards, and people, kind of got a kick out of that. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I really miss tailgating. I love tailgating. It's really a lot of fun.
Well, let me ask you this, you're going to be at the Bucs-Colts game tomorrow. What are your plans for tomorrow? How is Sador tailgating tomorrow for the Bucs versus the Colts?
Well, I'll be tailgating with Lucha Blue. He's a Colts fan of the year last season. We play, traditional tailgate games. We play bags. We play QB54. We play Gator Golf. A lot of adult beverages will be consumed, and they'll have some. I think we're getting it catered. I'm not positive this time. Last time it wasn't catered. We just, they grilled out and whatnot. But
puff, pass.
Well,
speaking of Chicago, Harry, Timmy with the bus is the best tailgate I've been to in Chicago. And now there's a new one, First and 10 tailgate. Yeah, awesome bunch of guys. Chicago fans are probably one of the most friendly fans I've been with, and I'm there quite a bit because I'm in the armpit of America, Northwest Indiana.
He remembers that. It's the armpit of the country. Everybody knows that. And the south side of Chicago is the other armpit. You know me, I'm glad he brought that up because he's right. Chicago fans are very friendly. You know, Green Bay and Chicago fans, they absolutely hate each other. But when it's game day and they're tailgating, I'm not kidding you, Ray. It's you'd never know that they hated each other. Before the game, everybody's eating bratwurst and they're sharing their food and they're playing football together.
Yes.
Right. During the game, they're beating the crap out of each other. But after the game, everybody's drinking a beer with each other. And the Bears got beat 56-0. You know, I mean, I don't get it.
Let me tell you, I'll tell you right now. And Josh, I got to go to you on this one. I got to ask you. Is it Borgales or Suck Up? I'm putting you on a spot. I'm kidding.
All I'll say is wait till Sunday when my 53-man roster prediction comes out for your answer.
I love what you said on the Pat and Aaron show.
I need one more game to evaluate. I can't. I'm not positive right now.
Fair enough. Well, and let me throw some props out to you, JC, because catching on Pat and Aaron show, they're on Monday through Friday from 12 to 3. They're on 95.3 WDAE. And brother, not only is your inside knowledge the best, I mean the best Buccaneers coverage that I follow everything. If you're talking it, I'm following it. But you've gotten pretty political. You've gotten pretty good at it because you have to, because you can't make that call because covering this team as you do, you got to make the logical coverage. And the coverage is that we really don't know yet. We really don't know if it's going to be Ryan Suckup or Borgales going into 2022 as a Bucs kicker.
Ask him in means that he understands better. Who's favored to win the position?
Ooh, Harry, the radio guy.
You know, Suckup showed a lot last game with that 52-yarder. You know, for a guy who is known as pretty automatic, you know, from 39 yards in, showing that he can hit a 52-yarder in a game, kind of impressed. But it comes down to so many different factors other than that. You know, it comes down to costs, you know, cost control. Who's more cost effective? Is it better to have Borgales on a rookie deal over the next couple of years, or paying Suckup a couple $1 million each year over the next couple of years? Is it, you know, getting youth at the position? Suckup's going to be 36 while Borgales is just 24 years old. Do you want to go, you know, younger at the position? We've seen the last 2 seasons with the Bucs moving on from Matt Gay, who turned into a Pro Bowl kicker, and then also with oh man, what's the dude's name? He's Greg Joseph, the kicker for the Vikings, who was on their practice squad the year prior, protected all season. Now he's the Vikings starting kicker. Do you want to take that risk with another young kicker and losing Jose Borgales, and then, you know, Suckup retires, or you move on from Suckup next year? Now you're back in the drawing board with another young kicker that you probably won't have one on the practice squad because the COVID rules are different. You know, you're not worried about COVID as much. So there's other factors that go into it other than just consistency and you know what you know.
I'm glad you said that, Josh, because we were at that Dolphins game. And, of course, you've been at the camp. You've been at camp over at the Advent Health Training Facility, One Buck Place. And Ryan Suckup is in the best condition of his life. I'm just going on a limb here. That kid looks like he's in great shape. But, of course, it comes down to that strength of that leg. So it's going to be what the coaches, they're breaking everything down. They're looking at everything that they're trying to figure out. But something tells me if it's Tom Brady, Gostkowski, Adam Vinatieri, you're looking at the fact that you like to have a veteran kicker like that. But at the same time, every time someone asks me, when I ask somebody, I'll go, hey, is it Borgales or Suckup? The first thing you always mention is the fact that Ryan's due to make $2.5 million plus, and that's money that the Bucs might want, or Jason Light might want to use to fortify into the position. I just don't know if that's enough to say you get rid of the Mr. Irrelevant kicker like Ryan Suckup, who's been in the fight, has shown what he can do under pressure.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, you've got a guy whose experience has been there and a guy who hasn't. So, I mean, that's another thing, too, with experience-wise. So there's so many different factors with Borgales and Suckup competition, and we'll get our answers as soon as Tuesday. So, you know, we'll see how they divvy up the responsibilities on Saturday, tomorrow night against the Colts. One thing that Borghaus also has working in his favor, besides just that distance and leg, is that he can handle kickoffs too. So it's definitely gonna be interesting. I think it comes down to the wire, as Bull said. There's no decision that's made right yet, and it'll definitely be something to watch tomorrow to see who's taking those field goals, extra points, and if Borghaus is handling kickoffs early on in the game.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Is there anybody here, raise of hands, show of hands, is there anybody here that wishes we'd have drafted Matt Araiza instead of Jake Camarda out of Georgia? Terrible joke.
Stop.
What a terrible thing. No, me, but what a terrible thing. I mean, this guy's accused of being involved, and I'm not even going to go there on a Friday night. It's after dark. I can say it. It was a gang rape, the thing he's accused of being a part of. The Bills are standing by him so far, but, I mean, is there a way that guilty till proven innocent? Is there a way that the Bills ride with this kid into camp, or is it going to be something that has to be the media is going to stay on the Bills too hard, and they're going to have to take care of it sooner than that?
It's a punter. Let's be honest. If it becomes, I'm being serious, if it becomes a media circle and you're going to have women standing outside the stadium protesting, mothers standing outside the stadium protesting, you're not bringing that into a team with Super Bowl aspirations. You're just not. If they're standing behind them, they must have something, some sort of assurance that everyone else doesn't have. But I promise you, if the Bills fans are as passionate as they are, that won't fly very well.
You know what? I'm going to have to second that because it's not Cleveland or Houston. You can get away with it there.
I knew you were going to, and he's not the quarterback. It's not the punter position.
Okay,
it's the quarterback position.
Let's just be realistic. Or it's not Pittsburgh. When your quarterback does it. I mean, I don't know. Again, my opinions do not reflect anything to do with Cupper, J.C. Allen, or Mike, the crew, and the round table. There is some sick crap going on out there, guys. And you know what? If the NFL is not going to take care of it and fix it, then the people who watch the football games need to make a statement. The people that sponsor the National Football League need to make a statement, like they did when, God forbid, someone was kneeling on the sidelines praying. Are you kidding me? Okay.
Wow.
I mean, give me a break, man. It's about time that, the owners are starting to be held accountable. And I understand they didn't do it, right? Snyder and Jerry Jones and Mr. Kraft up there in New England. But, monkey see, monkey do. That's the old adage. And people are just going to be people. But you know what? The people need to make a statement, gentlemen. And I don't think the National Football League is going to be very fair when it comes to anything. But you're absolutely correct when it comes to Buffalo. You talk about passionate fans. Well, their management, and their ownership is just as passionate as their fans. They're not going to let that type of garbage on there. If it's true, he's done. He never plays another down of football. But then again, I said that about Deshaun Watson.
I don't think it even has to be true. I just think it has to be. I mean, if there's shadow of doubt and you leave that there, that you don't have proof he isn't found innocent or whatever, something's got to be done.
Well, I don't wish anybody.
But guys, hold on. Let me ask you this though. Don't we think that the Bills did their homework because they knew about this before the draft? And JC, I'm sorry, JC. If you got to go, let me know. I don't want to keep you. I know you had some plans. You got to take care of some things tonight. But do you got to go?
He's muted right now.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. I don't want to get too far because while you're here, I want to get your insight on the Bucs. But I want to go ahead and say this: the Bills knew about this thing with their punter before they draft this kid. Doesn't one automatically assume? But of course, it's hard these days in light of what Cleveland did with the big contract, the $230 million guaranteed contract with Deshaun Watson. But doesn't one assume that the Bills did their homework already on this punter Araiza before they drafted him, or are we just drafting anybody at this point in the 7th round and just hoping things work out? Anybody?
Well, I'm not
Josh's
sure.
mic is muted. I'd love to hear his opinion on this because, he's got his ear to the ground so deep it's not even funny. And, just having him on the show, it's just his knowledge is just second to none.
Josh, go ahead, Josh.
It's a whole mess of problems across the league, and I think you bring up a good point there with, if 45% of the NFL's fans are female, and if that starts to become a big issue, as Misador said, it's a punter. If it's going to bring a circus there, they're going to move on. With that being said, if it is true, it is sickening. It is gross, and he should be, out of the league forever.
Gosh, yes.
Really,
Good point.
There should be no return from him. I don't know how much due diligence did, and getting lost in just the eraser thing is the whole San Diego State kind of, trying to push it under the rug in midst of one of their best seasons in the last, few years. So that's a big ordeal as well, trying to get this to just kind of go away and forcing this woman to open up a civil lawsuit. This girl, not this woman, this girl, this 18-year-old girl.
17, right?
17.
Yeah.
She was 17 when it happened, 18 now.
At the time,
This girl to open up a lawsuit just to get more attention. The way the police handled it, it's just a bad situation all the way around. But getting back to Bucs football, I actually have a strong disagreement. Surprise, surprise, with Harry. I think that Keyshawn Vaughn has really stepped up and really improved this year. And I would not be surprised to actually see the Bucs roll with 3 running backs and Gio guys on the chopping block. I know he had that fumble against Chicago, and that was a big part of him kind of not seeing as many snaps that remain for that season. But you got to remember, Bruce isn't here, and it's going to be interesting to see that dynamic with Todd Bowles when guys make mistakes and pass pro, fumbling, because Bruce would sit your ass on the bench for the rest of the game, and you're not getting back in there. You'd be in the doghouse for weeks. We've seen that, but we've also seen with Keyshawn Vaughn last year having to step in. He toted the rock pretty well. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns. That long one against the Carolina Panthers was a big one. He improved his pass catching.
It was garbage time.
A little bit. He was still the starter in that game. He's improved his pass blocking tremendously, his receiving skills tremendously against in this offseason. I've been very impressed with him. He was actually Peter Report's MVP on the offensive side of last week. 10 carries for 50-something yards. He's improved tremendously, and I think Rachaad White is clearly going to be the guy at some point. But for this season, with Lenny not coming off the field and being that 3-down back, I really, truly think it's going to be committee after that. And they'll get Keyshawn reps, then they'll get Rachaad White reps. If he feels healthy, maybe they'll get him reps. But as far as veteran presence in the room, you got Leonard Fournette. You don't really need a guy like Giovanni Bernard, especially who had struggles with injuries last year, isn't really much of a runner, doesn't play special teams. And, while he's good at pass catching and pass pro, Keyshawn Vaughn, Leonard Fournette, and even Rachaad White have looked really good in that aspect of the game, too.
Yes.
So do you think they're going to carry 3 and they're going to get rid of Gio?
I think there's a possibility Giovanni Bernard comes back on the practice squad. He's already doing $900,000 not million.
I could see that.
$900,000 guaranteed by the Bucs this year. A veteran minimum contract's going to pay him around $1.2 million. He'll make the practice squad. They'll elevate him if they need him, or if that becomes a situation. And right now he's injured. So, is he going to be ready to go by week?
You're probably right, JC. You're probably right. Plus, Giovanni's a lot older than him anyway.
Wait, can I get it right though? You guys are both. It's Giovanni Bernard. No, I'm kidding. No, but I agree though, because you slide that cat to the practice squad with the widened practice squad that we're still carrying, and I don't know why the NFL. I think we're going to finally see the NFL moving forward is going to keep it. It's not just still because of 2020 and COVID, but you slide them to the practice squad. If there's another team out there, which I don't think there is, not that they don't respect the veteran of Giovanni Bernard and what he can bring to a team. Maybe there is a team out there, but you take a chance because when Rachaad White, everything that kid's doing. That's one thing Bucs fans are all looking at. They're not putting Gio down, but they're thinking, we got that in White. We got that in a rookie. We got that in a first-year back. Why would we even have it? If it's a numbers game, of course, I totally agree. Good call.
Yeah.
JC?
So it's going to be interesting to see how it all shapes out with this roster, especially with special teams playing such an onus on who's going to make the final cut.
It's going to be a numbers game. There's so many positions on this team. You get that with your championship teams because – we look at the Akeem Hicks. We look at the signings that come here, and we're like, oh, the guys wanted to come here and they're chasing, or all these players that come here, we're like, oh, they want to come here and chase a ring or whatever. But you're talking about this team, the 2 years they've had under Jason Light and Bruce Arians, and now Todd Bowles is the head coach. And other teams want some of that championship flavor, some of what a depth of a player can bring in for other teams. I have no idea where I was going. I'm sorry, the music's too loud. Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry.
JC, do you think there's a chance that Bernard starts on the PUP list?
There's no chance of him starting on the PUP list now. You'd have to, if you're going to be on the PUP list and miss those first 6 weeks of the season, you have to be placed at the onset of camp. Since he wasn't placed on that list, you can't place him there now. So if anything, there's a possibility they might put him on injured reserve, where he could come back in as little as 4 weeks due to the new rules. But PUP list wouldn't be an option.
Yeah, because it's too late in training. You're right.
Josh, let me ask, or JC, I'm sorry, let me ask here. No, I'm going to get you out of here. Let me ask you this now. With the big injury now to the Dallas left tackle, Tryon Smith, right? And the fact that the Cowboys now are having trouble on their offensive line. They lose a future Hall of Famer and a left tackle to an injury this week. Now they're looking at the possibility of starting a rookie. Are we starting to feel like, even though the Bucs have had some, with Alex Kappa going to Cincinnati and Marpet retiring and if Stinney going out, but we're working with Leverett and Godecki at left tackle and Shaq Mason at right, even though this is a new, and of course, Hainsey at center. Let me ask you this, Josh. I should ask you this to get out of here. We know we're waiting until the Bucs get to the final 53 before they put the onus on Ryan Jensen. What are your feelings as far as Ryan Jensen? Is it a late October, November, December thing, or could we be expecting Ryan Jensen to come back a little sooner?
I think that we're looking at probably a situation where it's tough because we don't know. I don't think it's necessarily season ending because we haven't had that situation where he's been. We saw it with Aaron Stinney. We've seen it with Tyron Smith. We've seen it with players around the league. They've been placed on IR almost immediately. With Jensen not doing that, they're going to hold out hope that they can get him back, that they will be able to have him back in the lineup at some point. But it's still a question mark as to when, where, how, and what the situation might bring. So if I'm looking at it, I think there's certainly a possibility that he can be back. We just don't know what the diagnosis is. He's up in Indy this week getting another evaluation. So that's going to be something to monitor and something that's really going to kind of shed some light on what the situation could be. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get some news, some clarification here sooner rather than later.
Well, hey, between me and Harry, you guys, we got JC Allen from Pewter Report here. Is there any questions that I haven't asked yet that you'd like to ask of one of the insiders here who's probably got a better answer, a hell of a lot better answer than I have? Anything you got for JC?
No, I'm good.
He's so good because
I read all his articles daily, so.
That's good stuff, man. JC, I can't thank you enough. I want to close on it. Now, I already got Harry's response and Me's response. And, of course, you and I go all the way back to the infamous sausage party at my house, poolside. I got to mention it, brother. But I won't go there. I'll tell the story another time. But talking about the tailgate, what's the most important to you? You pull up, going back to your fan days, any time you've been to, whether it's been hockey, baseball, football, you pull in, you park. What's the most important part of a tailgate for JC Allen of Pewter Report?
Oh, you got to have the grill, the grill going.
Yes.
The tune going, the liquor flowing. Like, that's all. That's what it is. You have to have that stuff at a tailgate. And if you don't, you're doing it wrong. If you're not a little sauced up by the time you go in there, you're not doing it right. I remember one year I went to the AFC Championship game. It was Pittsburgh versus the Patriots, obviously. And I went with my wife. We got there. I started drinking Red Bull and vodka. Let's just say that I didn't make it in for the start of the game. I was a little too sauced up. And it started downpouring. We had seats up in the 300 section just to get in there, just to be there. But, if it wasn't for the tailgate, it could have been a much experience. So it was a blast, though.
I'm glad you went there, JC, because I want to share with anybody who may be catching Cup of Ray for the first time, or maybe you are not familiar with JC Allen of Pewter Report, not only locking it down with the best coverage of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but you did go back to, with Ray Bork and the Boston Bruins and the Boston Red. By the way, did the Red Sox win tonight? I'm looking. They were up.
Baseball anymore.
The Rays are in Boston. But I always thought it was quite prescient timing that you and your beautiful wife and your two beautiful children, you moved down here in time from Boston, from Massachusetts, and now you lock it down as covering the Buccaneers. And you're doing it a great job, my friend. I appreciate you coming in here on a Friday night for a cup of Ray.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to be in here with you, Ray. Harry, you know the deal. Love your buddy. And Misador, I'm still waiting for that invite. Still waiting for that podcast invite.
Hey, man, we got a new one coming out here soon, so it'll be all Buccaneer coverage. I'll get you on then for sure.
Absolutely. Guys, have a wonderful night. Let's go, Bucs. It's going to be a fun game tomorrow watching the starters out there. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother.
JC, thanks, brother. Have a good one. Take care, my friend.
Later.
I got him. I love to cut people off. How great is it to have JC come in here? So let's go back to the tailgate, guys, because I'm going to tell you real quick. Harry, can you stick around for a minute? I won't keep you too long. Me, can you stick around for about 5-10 more minutes?
I actually got to bounce. I'm like 20 minutes beyond my.
That's right. You were only in for so long, my friend. I appreciate you, me.
No,
go ahead and
no
tell everyone when they can. We already know we can find JC Allen at Pewter Report. Tell everyone when they can find Misador.
You can find me Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. Central Time on the Crew NFC Roundtable, where we discuss all things NFC, talk a little trash, have a little fun. It'd be great to see you guys there.
Brother, thanks for coming in here. You saved me, man. I appreciate you.
No problem. Great seeing you here.
You as well.
I got him off.
You're horrible, Ray.
I didn't mean to do it. I'm just a terrible editor. Yo, brother Harry, I know you're coming home tomorrow. Give me a little flavor. I already saw the picture of the 2.5-pound lobster tail, which was delicious. I know you were going back to that restaurant tonight. What did you have for dinner tonight? Make me feel bad. I'm going home and have tater tots.
That same 2.5-pound lobster tail.
You son of a bitch. Hey, can I share something with you, Harry? We're besties, and you're my neighbor. So I'm on my way down here tonight. And I mean, the pelotas are itching. I mean, it's crazy. Because I got off of UPS. I'm not going to lie. I took a poor man's shower, a little bit of water. And I mean, I'm like going crazy. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't be doing a 2.5-hour podcast doing this. Of course, I got a bunch of smoke shows around here. They're wondering, why am I doing this? Hey, Old Spice, antiperspirant. Why am I 53 years old, Harry? I'm living in Florida my whole life, and I'm just learning that takes the itch away immediately.
Oh, no.
Why did I go there? Was that too much information?
No, I love it, Rick. You know,
okay.
You know why I love it so much is because it's just whatever is here with you and I actually just comes out here. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that at all.
You want to see the best part of that story?
Yeah.
Hey, come over here 1 second. Can you come here 1 second?
Uh-oh. As a little
she was standing right here
during the
entire story. We're Bucs Report. We're covering the Bucs. Right there's the camera. Yeah, hi. She was sorry. Sorry about that story. It was a little. Have a great evening. Bucs Report. We cover the Bucs.
Oh yeah.
Yes. You like the Bucs? Pittsburgh? You like the Steelers?
That's good. Ask her
okay,
if she's a Mitch Trubisky fan.
No Pittsburgh. She's not sports, but I just felt bad that she was standing there the entire time I told the story.
Yeah,
but,
let the girls pass them by. I'm going to talk about scratching my nuts. There you go, Rick.
That's how I do. I got 2 daughters. I got a wife. I'm like, I'm going to keep it clean. Mark Ferguson, of course, down here at Ferg. She'll have no problem with that story. We're keeping it real here on a Friday night for a cup of Ray After Dark.
And the Edge District of St. Pete.
On Central Avenue, just below 16th Street in the Edge District of St. Petersburg. Harry, real quick before I let you go, and I appreciate it. Please tell Jamie thanks for coming in here. I got to just Google this real quick. I know the White Sox haven't been doing too good.
Oh, forget about it.
Sorry, bro. Wow, it's the bottom of the 8th. Boston's up 9-8, so I'm going to actually get off of here. I'll go watch the end of the game down here at Ferg's Bar and Grill. What are you doing tomorrow on a Saturday, my friend?
On a Saturday, unfortunately, I'm going to be packing it up. Actually, tomorrow morning, the wife and I are going to get up super early. I'm going to go see the sun rising on the east side of this island. I'm sorry, the east side of this country. It's just going to be absolutely beautiful. Hang out at the beach, take a dip in the crystal blue waters, eat a little bit of breakfast, have a couple of mimosas, and get ready to come home.
You did see now, I know you said they don't have the Weather Channel down there in the Dominican Republic, but you saw now, I don't know if you've seen it, but you timed this vacation perfectly because you don't want to be there a week from now. Next week at this time, there's actually 2 storms there coming across in the Caribbean there, and you don't want to be anywhere near the DR next week.
And I know why they don't have those weather channels on these TVs,
So they don't worry?
especially this time of year. Oh, my God.
Why is that?
It's because of all the storms that usually come through. I mean, it's unbelievable.
God bless.
Knock on wood, we've been pretty blessed. The tropics have been very quiet this year. Everybody was saying it was the end of the world. I mean, usually when they say that, there's nothing that happens. It's, and when they say it's going to be an easy season, oh, God, make sure your insurance premiums are paid.
Brother, the insurance premium, I just got that. Welcome back tomorrow night. Safe travels. Thanks for coming in on a Friday night. I am going to get off here. Maybe. I'm going to go watch the end of the Rays Red Sox game. I'm going to head home, have some dinner. Thank you, brother, for coming joining me for a Friday night cup of Ray here on the site.
And Ray, do yourself a favor. Don't scratch him too much.
I don't have to scratch him. I'm telling you that. That antiperspirant works great. I'm just sharing that because it took me till now to learn this. And there might be some young guys out there or some young ladies that are learning whatever they put in that stuff. It's like gold. It's like, what's that stuff called? Gold Bond? Wow. This show
I know
went
nothing
downhill.
about it.
Brother Harry, I love you, brother. I'll see you soon.
Love you too, man. If Peter Blake's out there watching, what's
Peter
up, brother?
Blake, I
Keep it
texted
going.
him tonight. Yes, PB. All right, brother. We'll see. I'll talk to you both real soon.
Thanks for having me on. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
No.
Take care.
Thanks for coming in, brother. Take care. So I kind of wanted to go there with the tailgating thing, and I'm going to go ahead and finish the night with the story because I end up, later on, I always watch these to see the comments that happen after the fact. So I pull into going back to that Bucs Dolphins game 2 weeks ago, I pull into the parking lot, and I took my children, Rowan and Tristan, my son and my daughter, and I had it all planned ahead because, mind you, I go back to 76 with the family, and we had my Uncle Sonny with the 3 Coleman grills because back then, don't forget, Buccaneers games were exclusively at 1 o'clock. That's how you roll when you start the 0-26 to start when you're incepted into the league. But we'd always get there early. It was a 1 o'clock game. My Uncle Sonny took care of everything. We had bacon, we had sausage, we had eggs, and then of course it would morph into the beer and the snacks. Back then it wasn't so much chips and nacho cheese or whatever, but it was what we did. But I always, would take my kids to the Dolphins game a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, you know what? We'll hit Publix, get some great subs. Of course, Publix a big sponsor of your Buccaneers. Get some subs. I got a 6-pack in the cooler. Get some Dr. Pepper and some Sprites for the kids. We're good to go. We park right next to the Buckaholics. We park right next to some of the best tailgaters in the entire National Football League, your Buccaneers tailgaters. And, man, I was blown away. There were shots. We were sharing food. There was just major tailgating going on. And so tonight I wanted a theme to be, because we're getting toward 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from Sunday, if you will, September 11th, the Buccaneers at Dallas. And for us, it's an away game. For Buccaneers fans, it's an away game. But you're still tailgating. We're still going to have friends. We've still worked for 2 years to get to that better place where we can have people come over. We're not worried about being around each other so much. It's a great thing that we're sentient beings. It's great to be around friends and family and be able to enjoy your Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they go for Super Bowl 57 victory out there in Arizona. But I realized just how important a tailgate is, just how important all the facets of a tailgate are. So I am going to bring this to another Cup of Ray. I'll bring it in the future so we can get into depth on this. So I'll just consider this a introductory, if you will, show, talking about the importance of a tailgate and all the things that, from the parking to the setting up of the tent to the food. And, of course, J.C. Allen from Pewter Report talks about the grill to music. I mean, the person who has the playlist that brings the speaker out, that's a very important facet of your tailgate party. And I would pose that there are many facets of a tailgate party. Hey, brother, how are you? I would pose that there are many facets of a tailgate party that are so important that we can actually have an entire show about it, because everybody has passions about their tailgates. Oh, you know what I just realized? I haven't read comments at all. I was so worried about my guests. And I'm so glad y'all commented. Thank you for coming in here on a Friday night and commenting. So I'm going to go ahead and read those. Fred Moore says, good evening, guys. Fred, thank you, brother, for coming in. Teresa, good. God bless. Good to see you, Teresa. Hey, guys. Hi, Harry. Yeah, Harry Berg up in here. Harry the Greek. Ben Cornett says, if Brady didn't want to play tomorrow, Bulls wouldn't put him out there. Brady has 100% say. And that's, Ben, right? That's where we were kind of getting at with talking about Tom Brady and whether – and, again, it's going to be – we want to see him go out. You want to see your Buccaneers go out on that first drive and just – and even if it's a punt or it ends up being a field goal, drive, get in field position, kick a field goal or touchdown, and get off the field. Keep it real for the Dallas Cowboys in 2 weeks on Sunday Night Football versus those Dallas Cowboys. Ben also says, besides Brady is the ultimate competitor, he won't Rodgers it. Brother, that's a great one, Ben. Ben also says, hopefully both kickers for the Bucs get to play and see who wins the kickers. And that was probably, Ben, my biggest disappointment last week in Tennessee is because even if there wasn't a game plan and we're not going to show anything, and it's all about the coaches seeing players in specific matchups so we can figure out who should be on this final 53 or the practice squad for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The fact that they didn't get into position for at least Ryan Suckup to have 2 or 3 or even 7 field goal attempts. Because if it's a true competition, you want to see that. We saw Borgales the week before against the Dolphins, and he makes that field goal until the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel calls that timeout and ices them. But it wasn't an ice. It was the way that ball was held by Camarda on that next field goal attempt, little forward. It's the way I saw it. It ends up squibbing and off the right goalpost. But that was probably last week in Tennessee versus those Titans. The moment that I had the biggest disappointment is because I could only fathom that if nothing else, not scoring touchdowns, not getting a running back to 100 yards, not having a quarterback go 25 for 25 with a quarterback rating of 130, if nothing else, this is a genuine competition between Ryan Suckup and Jose Borgales, and they did not put Suckup in but to have 1 field goal attempt. And that was a point that I became, as not only a person who covers the Bucs, but a person who is also a huge fan of the Bucs. I got pissed off because I'm like, that's what happens when Tom Brady is absent from this team and the vacuum and the loss of oxygen from this team. And that's what happens when you don't have. And, I want to see Todd Bowles take reins of this team and be the head coach because I know that cat can coach. I saw him with the Jets, and he had a crappy front office and a general manager with that New York Jets team, and I know it wasn't his fault. I want to see him take the reins. Fred Moore says, can't have another kicker wearing number 19, right? Oh, Fred, good point. Ben Cornett says, if Borgales misses a field goal or extra point and Suckup doesn't, job is Suckup's no matter the financial issue for the Bucs. And I agree with that totally, Ben. I think part of you, like the entire national media, the entire world, everyone who follows football or anyone who knows how great Tom Brady is, the greatest of all time, everybody wants to say that Tom's as much a GM as a coach as he is the quarterback of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I always go back to Adam Vinatieri. I always go back to Gostowski. I always go back to the importance to Tom to have a clutch veteran kicker who he could depend on to go in there and nail those 3 points, to nail those field goals in those close games. I think if Tom has this call, he's riding with his veteran guy. He's riding with his Ryan Suckup, who was on your 2020 Super Bowl 55 championship Buccaneers team. As much as you hate to lose a Borgales, we also know that the kicking position is one of those positions that every year teams go through 2 or 3 or 4 kickers. So, I mean, wow. How wow does Borgales have to make you that you can go, we can't afford to lose this guy, and we can afford to lose a guy like Ryan Suckup, who's been in a pressure cooker, who knows that we can do under pressure. So that's why I brought it up. Thank you, Ben. Ben also says, I'm hearing Ronald Jones right now for KC isn't getting very many snaps in their preseason games. He's healthy, by the way. That's a bad sign. And I heard the same thing, Ben. So that's the point I was making that when I said that you lose a Peyton Barber or Ronald Jones Jr. and you're talking about. But the Keyshawn Vaughn, and I'm glad J.C. Allen from Pewter Report backed me up on that, that I haven't seen a sample size from Keyshawn Vaughn. What I've seen from Keyshawn has been enough that makes me interested to see more. So because of what you get Rachaad White and the receptions and the fact that this kid can catch the ball out of the backfield, because what we get with him, as opposed to the veteran leadership with an injured Giovanni Bernard, I would say that, like JC posed, possibly that you move a Giovanni to the practice squad, so you keep that veteran. He still gets paid for the season, but you have that veteran in there. Oh, thank you, brother. That's my boy, DJ Mac. No, I'm good. Thank you. I'm coming over. I'll be right there. That's what you get down here at the world famous Berg Sports Bar and Grill. Best of the Bay wings, hamburgers, the best food, the largest, best sports atmosphere just across the street from Tropicana Field. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that your Tampa, and I got it written down here, the Rays are 69-55, 14 games above 500. Now, I know I said they're down 1 run to the Boston Red Sox. They're playing at Fenway here in the 8th inning, probably the 9th inning now. But the Yankees may have ran away with the American League East this season. The Rays won it in 2021 and 2020. But that's what Tampa Bay is all about. The Rays, the Bucs, the Lightning. It's a good time to be a Tampa Bay fan. So, yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Alec. Ben. Alec says, hey, Ray. Hey, Mr. Ray and JC. Alec, good to see you on a Friday night. Good show so far, guys. I know you're being kind, Alec. I appreciate you. Gotta love Rodrigo. I mean, I'm glad, I'm watching the Hard Knocks, and I mean, I'm a Detroit Lions fan. And I say that because I don't fear the Lions are going to win the NFC North and be but you never know, right? With the Rodgers losing his receivers and the Vikings and the new coach and McConnell and, what are the Bears going to look like? Although I think the Bears have a better team than most people want to give them credit for. But the Lions, if they make a threat out of the NFC North, then they could be one of those teams that your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are looking at in the postseason. So at that point, I have no allegiance to the Lions. But God, Hard Knocks on HBO's Hard Knocks, rooting for them so far. 3rd week was last week. We got 4th week coming up this next Tuesday. A little bit of a Lions fan, a little bit of a Cunningham fan. Ben Cornett says, Ray, can you stay on live and perform a song or two with that band playing in the background, please, man? I love you, brother. On the floor, in and around. Now that I've had a shot. Ben Cornett says, Harry with the beer back. I mean, beer buck jersey back in the day. The beer back. Oh, brother. Andrew Faubert says, look at these sexy four. Brother, thank you, Andrew, for coming in on Friday night. I hope you're having a good Friday night wherever you are. I've already went almost 12 minutes farther than I should have or I wanted to, but that's what Friday Night Cup of Ray is all about. It's Cup of Ray After Dark. It's literally talking about putting deodorant in your nethers. That's what this show is all about, which is terrible. Alex Loosemore. Alex, what did I do to deserve this? Cowboys O-line is in trouble, too, for week 1. It makes an interesting dynamic for that week 1 matchup. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Alex, because I was mentioning that with Kappa and Marpet and Jensen and Hainsey and, of course, Shaq Mason and Leverett or Godecki, either the rookie at left guard. Now, all of a sudden, Dallas loses their Hall of Fame left tackle or, left tackle who's surely on his way to the Hall of Fame. And the thing it's weird with Dallas is that, the fireball. You always, and I'm looking at Dallas, actually, they're trailing the Seahawks 23-20 now in the 4th quarter live on NFL Network down here at Berg's because they got a TV for everything going on down here. If you've got a sport on, they got you covered down here at Berg, the world famous Berg Sports Bar and Grill. But the fact that Dallas has that problem with their offensive line, and you kind of have a feeling that the Bucs are going to work their problems out, the offensive line. Everyone wants to make a point about Tom Brady being 46. Oh, Tom Brady, but he's also got one of the quickest releases, one of the best, if not the best pre-snap reads in the entire National Football League. But it makes for an interesting dynamic that I'm sure after we get through tomorrow night's preseason game and then the lead up to the September 11th Sunday night 8:20 game versus Dallas there at AT&T Stadium, obviously one of the biggest dynamics the media will put an eye on is the offensive lines, the Dallas offensive line versus the Bucs offensive line, and how important it is to try to protect a Dak Prescott versus how important it is to protect the GOAT and Tom Brady. So, yeah, 100%. Good. Peter Blake, what's up, guys? Pete, great to see you, my friend. Brother, love you. Good to see you. Andrew Faubert says, what are the odds of a shark near Ray ATM like within 5 meters? Pretty good, Andrew. Andrew also says, I can't wait for the tailgating. 100%, Andrew. I can't wait for it either, brother. Alan McTavish says, McMaster Ray. You just saw Mr. Allen, my DJ, my sound guy. He's got the best in the business, Mixmaster Ray Kennedy. Andrew Faubert says, that's awesome. Haha. And then Ben Cornett finishes up with, it's no longer a cup of Ray. It's shots with Ray. Ben, thank you, brother, for coming in here. I want to go ahead and give a shout out because I've been telling you what, I've been down here. I had it pulled up earlier. So give me 1 second. This is so rude, but at this point, are we standing? I've already talked about, Antiperspirant make pelotas, so I don't think we're standing on any kind of. But let me go ahead and pull this up here because I got to tell you what, I got to throw propers out here because this band down here has been fantastic. If they didn't get the show already thrown off, so that's not going to work. But let me get it here. Can't touch this. But they use that same riff for MC Hammer. Long story. Let's go here. Oh, I wanted to mention I reached out to JC Allen. Of course, again, thanks for joining me tonight, JC Allen from Pewter Report. Is that the Buccaneer Beach Bash is down there at the Trade Winds on St. Pete Beach. That's Sunday that the Bucs play in Dallas for the open a week from Sunday, September 11th. So I am trying to get some things together to try to do a Cup of Ray, do some live show from down there. Look forward to seeing that. Of course, the NFL edition on Thursday nights. You got we got all kinds of shows here on Bucs Report covering your Buccaneers, covering the entire National Football League. So keep it tuned in here. I'll go ahead and exit stage left now while I am still standing up. And you guys know how I end every one of these. Of course, down here on a Friday night, I'm going to go ahead and end it the same way I always do. Everyone needs to know someone cares. Today, why don't you be the one? Lets them know. And let me go ahead and mention this because this is kind of close to my heart. And I wanted to mention this, and I'm going to go ahead and mention it anyway, that don't forget, we saw it this weekend on the Bucs Report, Buccaneers.com, Bucs Report, Buccaneers. We covered it on Bucs Report, but Logan Ryan, of course, Logan Ryan's Animal Rescue Foundation. Kind of close to what Chris Godwin and his beautiful wife Mariah have going on with the Chris Godwin Foundation. But tomorrow, Saturday, is Clear the Shelters Day here in Tampa Bay. And it's one of those days where you can go to the shelter and I think, what is it, $8.67? $8.27. All of your adoptable dogs and cats, you can go and find a forever home for some of the most beautiful, warm your heart as you get ready for this football season and bring a friend home, bring a dog or a cat home from the SPCA, the Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, that you can teach to be a Bucs fan with you, and you can have a little friend there. Maybe it's already 2 or 3 of you, and bring in a fourth and have a little friend there to watch the Buccaneers in 2022 as they pursue that Super Bowl championship out there in Arizona in Super Bowl 57. So don't forget, tomorrow's Clear the Shelters Day, and I challenge each and every one of you, go to a shelter, maybe donate a couple of dollars, maybe you bring in a little dog or cat food you might have laying around, but take a look at some of those friendly, those beautiful faces on some of those dogs and cats there at the shelters, and find a forever home for them and get them home and get them the love that they need, because they have all that love that they're ready to give to you. All they need is for us to be ready to give them the love that they're ready to take because they're ready to give it. So go visit your shelter tomorrow. Again, it's Clear the Shelter Day here in Tampa Bay. Logan Ryan, Chris Godwin, thanks, guys, for that. I really appreciate that. And so everyone needs to know someone cares this weekend. Let's let those little furry friends of ours know that we care. Let's go and let's find a home for them. Let's get them out of those shelters. They're just waiting to come home and be loved. All they want to do is give that love and that companionship. As people are looking at this guy like, what's he doing? Bring them home and give them that love and let them give you the love that you may need as you get ready for the 2022 Tampa Bay Buccaneers season. In just over a week now, 9 days on Sunday night versus those Dallas Cowboys. Thanks for joining me. I know I've rambled. That's what I do. Have a great evening. We'll see you soon here on Cup of Ray.